So after doing the poll today, I noticed that one of the key things is that a lot of people have questions on offers, right? A lot of people have a lot of questions on offers. So I'm going to literally just walk you through how to come up with an incredible offer, right? An irresistible offer. Now, the main reason why a lot of people are actually having this challenge with offers is because, number one, you're coming at it the wrong way, right? So you're thinking your way into the offer, right? Thinking your way into the offer. Like, what should I sell? And that's the complete wrong approach, because an incredible offer is not about you thinking like, what should I sell? Because an incredible offer or an irresistible offer has to come from the marketplace. It absolutely has to come from the marketplace. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you already have products, right? You already have products that you have in mind, and you're thinking, who am I going to sell it to, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that that's a steeper hill to climb, right? That's a steeper hill to climb, because here's the challenge, right? You're showing up at the marketplace not with the best interest of the marketplace, but the best interest on how you can sell the product, right? So I've talked to a couple of people. They're saying, yeah, I already know my market. I already know my market. And if you already know your market, then why is the offer a challenge to come up with, right? If you really already know your market, then the offer should be second nature, right? So the first thing is you're thinking your way into the offer. The marketplace should dictate what type of offer you should be making, right? The marketplace should dictate what type of offers you should be making, right? Think of yourself as a detective. Your key job is to go out and figure out where is the desire, right? Where is the desire? Because without an offer, here's the thing, without an irresistible offer, it doesn't matter whether you have the best funnel. It doesn't matter whether you have the best traffic source. All these things won't really matter, because your offer won't convert. The key game, the key prize of this game is to make sure that your offer is converting. And once you have an irresistible offer, guess what? The funnel builds itself. The funnel builds itself, because now you don't have to start thinking about what funnel should I build. The offer will tell you what type of funnel you should build, right? So I would say the first thing is to really, really, really hone in the skill of figuring out what is your offer. And you can't come up with an offer without knowing who you're going to be targeting, right? You have to absolutely know who you're going to be targeting. Like, it's amazing that, you want to come, like, there's some people that want to come up with an offer without having, like, the minute I ask that magical question, who is your target market? It sounds like, wow, I never even thought about it, right? Or the target market, like, you don't know down to the T, down to the little dot, right? Who that person is. What do they do for a living? When do they get up? What do they eat? What frustrates them? What's the internal conversation? How is that manifesting externally, right? So those are like really, really getting intimate to the detail of who your ideal client is. Who are you targeting, right? Now, before we even move forward, I'm going to give you a framework of how to actually start thinking about these offers. I'll give you, and once you get the more of these you do, it's literally 5 steps, 5 key things, or 6 things. Once you do these, you should be in a good place to actually come up with an irresistible offer. So, but before we get into that, right, I want to first of all address what is the difference between products, because a lot of times I think the reason why a lot of us are actually challenged with coming up with offers is because we're thinking in terms of products and not in terms of offers, right? So you're thinking, what product should I offer instead of what offer should you offer? And there's a key difference. A product is really just a commodity. It has zero, it just fulfills the external desire. That's what a product does. A product just fulfills the external desire. It has zero emotion. It has zero life, you know. It's just an external, it's just an external, it fulfills the external desire. That's what a product is, right? A pen is a product, right? But what offers do, they convert products and add meaning and perspective. So once you understand this, you're going to start coming up with better offers. Offers is what adds meaning and perspective. If I come to you and tell you, hey, I'm selling you a pen, right? And this pen is $20, you know, that price won't register. You're like, what's up with that pen? Why is it $20, right? But if I come to you and tell you, I've come up with a way that you can sign more checks, right? You could put your signature on more checks, and the ink that is going to be used for you to sign these checks is waterproof. It's water resistant, right? And this pen is actually crafted from this wood that was actually from the ancient forest of whatever, where there was so much history from there, right? And this pen is handmade. And this is the pen that when you sign a check, it's memorable. It has a memory to it. Now, the difference between that and just a pen, maybe it's not the best example, but you can see if I put a story onto an offer, right, onto a product, now it becomes an offer, right? So I think like a lot of times you're thinking about what product should I sell, instead of what offer should I make, right? The minute you shy away from products, because products have zero, they have utility, but that's it. All they have is utility, meaning that they fulfill a very direct purpose, very direct, very analytical purpose. I would say left brain purpose, where it does this linear purpose, right? Where you put in this, you get this. You buy a pen, you expect it to write, right? It has zero emotion, you know, it has zero perspective. Like we're just buying it for the utility, for the thing it's going to do. But when you come up with an offer, it's deeper than a product, right? It goes into depth. There's more depth in an offer. You're thinking about the instance that person is going through. What are they going through internally, right? There's more internal, right? There's more internal. You're thinking about what are they going through internally? What's the conversation that's going in, that's in their minds when they interact with your product, right? What story are you going to tell them? And that's the key difference, right? Let me give you a better example. A flag. A flag is just a piece of cloth, right? It has zero meaning, right? It has zero meaning. Just a flag by itself, intrinsically, it has zero meaning, zero value. If you tell me you're selling me a flag, right, for $200, I would probably question, hey, what are you trying to sell me? You know? But when we add a story behind the flag, now the flag ceases being a commodity. You can say, hey, you know, to get this independence, so many people died, right? So many people died to get the independence. And that's why this flag has meaning and it has perspective. If you go out and just sell a flag, it has zero meaning, right? It's a commodity. The maximum someone is going to pay for is about $20, right? But when you come in and say there's a story behind it, let me tell you this story. Long time ago, we were colonized, you know, we were a colony of the British or whatever, right? And we had to fight. Now there's a meaning behind it, and that's why you can now charge a higher price. So that's the first thing. You have to absolutely get that first lesson, the difference between what's a product and what's an offer. If that is not clear, then you can't come up with an irresistible offer, right? So a product is literally, just think of a product like a cup is a product, right? It's a commodity. There's only so much in the mind of your prospect that they're willing to pay, right? And then what makes an offer irresistible is the story, right? It's the story behind it. What's the frame? You're framing it. And that's what makes the difference. So there's about 5 different levels of doing. You have to do your research. As we now understand that there's a difference between a product and an offer, then now we have to do the research so that we can know how to actually convert a regular product into an offer, right? Because the most important thing is the offer, right? The most important thing is the offer. Once you make the offer, right, the fulfillment of the products becomes much, much easier, because once you make an irresistible offer, you're going to get paid. You're definitely going to get paid if it's irresistible. And then now you can go out and find people to create the product. And business happens at the speed of lightning. Why? Because you're not focused on creating the product, you're focused on creating the offer, right? You can make offers without really having a product, right? You can make offers without really having the product. And I think that's where like a lot of us are stuck, like, and me being one of them too. It's not like, this is not it's not like one of those one-off problems. Like, it's really deep. It's a really deep problem, because I too struggle with this. I'm thinking of products, creating products. I got to put this course together. I got to put all the videos together. When really the most important thing is make the offer. Make the offer. The market is going to give you feedback. The market is going to give you feedback. So with that said, let me go through the 6 steps that you'll go through. 6, I think it's 6 or 5. I will go through them. You know, I have a, so CAEPAJ, right? So C stands for competition. You absolutely have to look at your competition, right? And why do you have to look at your competition? Why do you need to go out and see ads, right? And see other people's offers? It's so that you can have a data point or a starting point by which to do what? By which to become relevant. Now, if you were in isolation, maybe somewhat completely blocked out from the entire world, the problem is that when you actually go out, right? When you go out and you make an offer without really seeing what is actually being sold, you may be selling something that's way out there in the minds of your prospect. That's why we absolutely have to start with competition. And actually A is still under competition, right? So you have to start with competition. Go out, go to adbeat.com, and don't, like, if it's taking you too much time, or you notice that, hey, you're not finding anything, then that's a clear indication or indicator that you probably have selected the wrong market, right? Because if you, and this is how you select markets, right? As Russell says, right? You want to look at, first of all, there's the big markets, the health, the relationships, and the wealth, right? But even a better way to look at it is to, I mean, a different way to look at it, not better, but a different way to even look at it is have a criteria by which to actually select your markets. I think a lot of times you're selecting markets that you want to play in rather than the markets where there's activity happening, right? So it's very important to select the right market. You want to go for markets where there's a very clear problem. If there's no clear problem, then that's not a great market to go after. That means everything is wonderful, right? Why would you want to go into a market that there's no problem, right? You want to go to a market where there's a huge problem. The second thing that you want to go into is a market where people are actively looking for a solution. Actively looking, which means that if there's no keywords to describe what these people are looking for, if no one is spending ads, right? If there's no one advertising on your keywords, then maybe that's not the right market, right? So they have to be actively looking. Otherwise, if they're not actively looking, it doesn't make any sense to even try and make offers to people who are not even looking. That means you're going to be what? You're going to be charged with the responsibility of educating them. and creating a problem for them so that they can now, so that you can sell the solution. And that's really, really going to take you a long time. You're going to run out of resources by the time you educate them on why this problem is relevant, right? You don't want to create the problem, you know, especially when you're beginning. You want to tap into the problem that they already have, right? Because in the long run, yes, the long-term strategy, you want to go into to literally now point a big light on the problem that they're experiencing, right? And maybe even create the problem, right? But most of the times, problem creation is going to be really tough because now you have to build a case. That's why you want to find a problem that already exists. Second thing. The third thing, are they actively spending? Are they spending? So these are like literally, you know, where's the problem? Are these people actively looking for a solution? Are they spending to buy the solution? And then the fourth piece that I'll definitely look at is, hey, do they have little to no perceived solutions? Little to no, few to little perceived options. Remember, it's perceived options in the minds of your clients. So these are the four key things you have to look at when you're actually thinking about market selection. Once you decide, okay, they have a problem, right? They're actively looking. If you go to Google and you can't find anything. No one's advertising. No one's advertising. Keywords are not coming up. You know, they have low search volume. You know, and you can go to Uber Suggest. Just put in your keyword in ubersuggest.io. Ubersuggest.io. Put in your keyword. If there's no search volume, you know, low search volume, no one's advertising on that keyword. You know, there's no solutions out there. You go to Amazon, you type in the keyword, nothing is coming up. Then maybe that's not the right market. Maybe that market is not ripe enough, right? And you don't want to be the one going out there and being the what? The prodigal, the tester, you know, the one that actually goes out with the arrows on their back, as Russell says, right? So you want to actually go to markets that fulfill these four key things. You know, when you're doing your competitive research, what you're really looking for is relevance. You're looking for, hey, you know, do they have a problem? Are they actively looking? Are they spending money for solutions? Do they have little or few perceived options? So that's the first piece, right? Competition. The second piece is, okay, now we got to get into the mind of our prospect. And this is where now empathy comes in. We have to start thinking about empathy, right? And empathy is nothing but what is their internal story, or what belief do they have when it comes to the product that you're selling, right? What is the perceived belief that they have, right? What's the internal story? What's the external story too, or external manifestation? How is it manifesting externally, right? What's the external manifestation, right? And what's their hell to heaven vision? What's their hell to heaven vision? So this is where you want to now start pulling out a sheet and you type in, you know, all the things, all the emotions. You want to start with all the emotions, the positive ones and the negative ones. Positive and negative, right? And you have to go through this exercise because literally by going through this exercise, what does it do? It puts you in the shoes of your ideal client, right? It puts you in the shoes of having empathy for your ideal client. Remember, there's two key things that you absolutely need, right? For your offer to even make sense, right? It has to relay empathy. And the second thing it has to relay is authority. If you randomly just put together products and say, hey, you know, I've come up with a great offer, it's not going to resonate, because if it doesn't have empathy, meaning that they want to feel understood. If your clients don't feel understood, because you slapped together a product that you thought was an offer so that you can take them through a funnel, it's not going to work, right? Remember, offer is the most important piece of your funnel. If the offer is not working, it doesn't matter whether you have a great funnel or you have a great traffic source and the traffic is coming in the drones. If your offer is not converting, it's dead before you even get started, right? So you want to map out this empathy so that you can actually show up with empathy, right? What is the positive conversation that they have about the situation? Everyone has a positive conversation and a negative conversation. You want to bring out the negative one so that you can now literally communicate that you understand what they're going through, right? Because how do you create rapport? If you meet an absolute stranger, how do you create rapport? You create rapport by echoing the depth of you comprehending who they are and what they're going through, right? How do you feel when you meet up with someone and they're complete stranger and they tell you about instances or experiences that they've gone through that mirror exactly what you're going through or have been through? You feel like, wow, I feel like I've known this person for years. Why? Because of echoing empathy. That echoing empathy, right? So that's why you have to and if you don't know what emotions your avatar is going through, talk to them. Go talk to them. This is not one of those things that you can literally sit and literally search. You could go to some sites like, you could go to Amazon reviews, but the best way to literally get this information, the empathy information, is either to observe or to literally become them and literally go through like, hey, what would they be feeling, right? What's the conversation that's going on internally? How are they feeling around this, right? There's no way you can fake empathy, right? In fact, if you try and fake it that you have empathy, it rubs people the wrong way because now you're showing up as inauthentic, right? So you have to spend time. If you don't know those emotions, you don't know how they're feeling, you don't know what's the internal challenges that they have. Remember, every product has two parts. It has the surface part, and then it has the deeper part, right? And most products, commodities, right? Most commodities only focus on the surface part. That's why you can only fetch so much price, because it's only addressing the surface problem. If you want to if you really want to now charge a premium and charge beyond your wildest dreams, you have to go to the deeper part, right? And to get to the deeper part, you have to get into the deeper conversation. So this is the second part. You absolutely have to go into empathy. The third part is now about persona, right? Persona is nothing but understanding demographics and psychographics. Demographic, who are they, right? Who are they? Age, what's their age? If I was to ask you, what's their age, right? Are they married? Do they have kids? What's their income levels? That's all demographic information, right? It's all demographics. Where do they live, right? Are they affluent? Are they part of a golf club, right? Or private club? What do they do, right? Demographics is more about, identity. And then psychographics is more about why. Why do they, what is the deeper reason for their behavior, right? Deeper reason, what's their what motivates them to behave the way they behave? So you want to try and understand that, right? Why do they buy? Do they buy because of fear, right? Do they buy because of acceptance? They want to be accepted, right? Do they buy, you have to get, and Tony Robbins goes through those 6 emotions. The more of those 6 emotions or core drivers of behavior, of human behavior, the more you hit, the more you actually understand or communicate those, right? The more your offer is going to be irresistible. Some people buy out of fear of missing out. Some people buy out of greed, right? They just want to own stuff, right? Some people buy out of a sense of of worthiness, right? They feel like if I own this, now I'm someone, right? Some people even buy out of, hey, for sharing. It's a community thing for them, right? I'll buy this because it could benefit my community, right? And that's where they find their greatest joy. So you have to really understand the cycle. Like, you absolutely have to understand that, because without that, without mapping that, like, how's your product going to be irresistible, right? Your product or your offer, let's talk about offers. Your offer is not going to be irresistible, right? And then once you map that out, now you have to get into the awareness. You have to get into the awareness, because when they come to your funnel, and by the way, if you've noticed, this whole time we haven't even talked about which funnel you're selecting. This whole time, what are we focusing on? The whole time, all we're focusing on is the who. That's all we're focusing on. You know, they are the apple of our funnel. The who is the apple of our funnel. Without the who, we don't have a funnel, neither do we have an offer, right? So we really want to, like, literally become best of friends. We really, if I have a best of friend, I want to know them intimately. What do they do? What are they scared of? What do they love? Why do they buy? What was their childhood like, right? I want to know all those intricate details so that I can know, hey, you know, I can gift them. Think of it like you're giving someone a gift. I think the key thing is, a lot of times when we're creating these funnels, we're thinking, hey, you know, it's a sell. Yeah, you're selling. But if you think of it like you're giving someone a gift and you're undercharging for the gift, now it becomes irresistible. So if you were to give someone this gift and they would say, oh my goodness, they would literally do backflips to get this gift because it's so compelling. Wouldn't you need to know a little bit about them, right? What they like, what they don't like, what gets their eyes to sparkle, right? So that's the research you have to do. And then the third, of course, now the next thing is you have to know a little bit about the awareness, you know? So a lot of times people, they skip this awareness level of, hey, do they know that there's a problem? First of all, are they unaware of the problem? You know? Do they even know that there's a problem? If they don't know what the problem is and you're out there making offers, there's no way this offer is going to be even congruent with the awareness of your ideal client, right? If your ideal client is not aware that they have a problem, is your offer really going to be irresistible, right? So you have to start thinking, do they know of this problem? And not think that they know, like, do they really know about this problem, right? Second, do they know of the available solutions? If they don't know there's available solutions out there, it doesn't matter what offer you're making, they're going to question, hey, you know, I have to first of all see what else is out there. Do they know of your niche? Meaning they know of all the available solutions, but now they want to know more about why are you different? Why is your solution different? And then finally, the offer, right? So these are the levels of awareness. You have to map them out, because what level of awareness are they going to be coming into your funnel, right? If the first page is talking to someone who's cold, then you can't start by asking them, hey, give me an email and I'll give you this solution. Why? Because they don't even know what problem you're solving, right? So I've seen a lot of times these offers are incongruent. Why are these offers incongruent? Because they're not factoring in the awareness level of the prospect. They're not factoring in the awareness level of the prospect. So if you go through all these steps, you figured out what the problem is, you figured out what's going on, you know, you figured out what's the deep problem that's going on, that deep conversation, you figured out, because a lot of times, let me give you an example. So, there was this person who was selling, I think he was selling security alarms. He was selling security alarms, right? And the salesman showed up. One salesman A showed up saying, hey, I'm selling security alarms. This will protect your family, right? And the guy was like, I don't know. That's not irresistible for me. What does it do? Tell me what it does. Oh, you can see what's going on. It has a video camera. You can see who's coming into your house, who's leaving. You can remotely turn on, turn off, and turn on your lights. And it's just incredible. And the guy was like, okay, that's features. That's great. And then salesman B came in and said, hey, you know what? Similar pitch, but this time he actually added more of a twist. He figured out what was the deeper reason. So he's like, yeah, it has the same features. He said, yeah, it has the same features, but here's why those features are important. You want the deep, if you're talking to the guy of the house, what's the key thing he wants? He wants to catch the thief in the act. He wants to catch the thief in the act, right? And go out and brag, there, I got him. I got him. That's bragging rights, right? He wants to go out, during the friend's barbecue and show them, hey, this is what my alarm can do. I can see exactly what's going on in my household. I'm in control, right? And he said, yes. So that's the reason why you want to get this alarm, right? Now, which of the two is more of a compelling offer? A is just talking about, hey, it comes with these features. This is what you would look. I know you want security. You want to provide security for your family. Yeah, that's all great. And I would hope that everyone wants to provide security for their family. But that's not the deeper reason. The deeper reason is not only a sense of calm, but bragging rights, right? Bragging rights. The ability to catch someone in the thief, catch the thief in the act. The ability to actually spy on your neighbors. What are my neighbors doing, right? What's going on in the neighborhood, right? I can see remotely what's going on in my neighborhood. Which dog is actually pooping on my yard and the owner is not collecting the poop. I can be able to actually catch them in the act, right? So that's the reason why, now the second one became a more irresistible offer. And it becomes irresistible because the person did the entire exercise of really doing what's the internal story and what's the external manifestation. Now, the final piece after you're done with that which is the easy part, which is now the funnel. And the funnel now becomes much, much easier because you're getting direction from the offer, from the research. And you know that, hey, this is their health state and they want to go to heaven. They want that absolute control, right? Ownership, right? Of this situation that you're solving, that your offer is for. And then you start mapping out what's the first thing I would give them that will remove them a step from their health, right? And what's the second thing that I'll give them? And the third thing, and the fourth thing, and the fifth thing, until the final thing is they're heaven and they're happy, and they really feel they're really evangelists. Now they can go out and tell everyone about the experience they just had, right? And that's the way to map out the offers. And that's how to come up with the offers. Don't worry about the products. Make the offers. Have your funnel up and make the offer. Because if you focus on the product, I tell you, I kid you not, you'll run multiple iterations, meaning that you're going to go to the market and the market is going to resonate with something so unheard, like something that you didn't even believe. Your product is going to change, right? And if you've created a product, now you're stuck because now you have to justify all the time you've put into creating the product. And now the desperation will kick in, definitely, because you feel like I have to sell this product. Versus if you come up with the offer and the market says, hey, that's not the right offer, you can go back and switch it up and come up with another offer and another offer. You can make offers every day, right? Why? Because offers is the whole perspective of the product, right? Offers is the story behind the product. Can you imagine if I was selling flags and I had the flag printed and ready to go, and then I go out and I'm targeting the wrong people, right? And now I'm stuck with these flags. What do? I can't change it's going to be really hard to change the actual merchandise. I'm stuck with it. But guess what I can change if I was making offers, right? I can change the flag to whatever I want to. Why? Because I'm making offers, right? I'm making offers. So that's the key thing. I hope this gives perspective. I hope it'll help you with coming up with great offers. And remember, when you come up with a great offer, you know, I think it does the market really good, because now, you know, the market is going to raise you're going to raise the status of the marketplace, right? The marketplace, remember, is seeing terrible offers after terrible offers, right? And to be honest, it takes work to come up with a great offer. But guess what? When you put in the work and you raise the bar, now it becomes really hard for people to compete with you, and that forces everyone to raise their bar and come up with better offers, which in turn come up with better products. Thank you very much for taking the time. You can tag me if you have any questions. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it gives you the momentum, right? Don't get stuck on the offers. Remember, in week 4, this is week 4, and it's almost coming up to final week, right? If there's one thing I would like you to actually take away, if there's one thing you could take away from the One Funnel Away Challenge, is have an incredible offer. Cheers. Talk to you soon.